streets, and there are parts of the city that are abandoned and just filled with random Pokemon, which I don't know how to feel because some Pokemon don't necessarily live inside that city-like habitat. Some of them live in forests and caves, so I just wonder how they're gonna do that, but I don't have high expectations for this game at all. Yeah, and it seems like every single one of my worries came true. And am I surprised? No, because I don't know, at this point it seems like a lot of Pokemon games, if the trailer footage looks bad and they just show nothing good about the game is just gonna look bad. I don't know. I want to give the game a chance because I loved Pokemon Legends Arceus. In fact, I think it's one of the better Pokemon games to ever come out, especially in recent times, but I just don't know what they did with this game. So let's talk about it. I'm sure by now you've heard all the negative reception behind Pokemon Legends ZA and just how bad and half-baked this game is. I'll do this in just a basic pros and cons list, but if you just want to have this video in the background while you're like doing work or cleaning, I'd greatly appreciate it. Anyways, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, comment your opinion. I'd really like to hear it. And I heard like there's this thing called hype going around. I mean, hey, if you want to throw your boy some that way, pause, big pause on that. But if you want to throw your boy some, then yeah, do that. Anyways, let's start with the list. And let's just do the pros to get them out of the way because there are some, but not really many. Alright, my first pro that I really don't see surprisingly a lot of people talk about is the soundtrack for the game. I don't know who did it. It might even be Toby Fox, if just off the top of my head, but they just absolutely cooked. Like, I don't care, a Pokemon game can be ass, but there will be at least 1 or 2 songs inside the OST that'll just hit every single time. And the overall soundscape they're just able to paint with the music and instruments, like if you were just close your eyes, you can tell you're inside like a France-like setting, if that makes sense. All the battle themes, the day, the nighttime theme, is just so peaceful and relaxing. And it kind of just sucks that, you know, Nintendo in general does not release their music on Spotify. They just decide to release it on a shitty app that nobody uses. Moving on, another pro would definitely have to be how they changed the Pokédex. I wasn't really a big fan of it inside Legends Arceus, mainly because of how repetitive it was, but inside this game, they just made it where you have to catch it instead of having to catch multiple of the same species over and over again just to complete one entry, or having to go into battle with that Pokemon and having to use the same move over and over again. Moving on, I really do like the artistic direction that they went with the game. I kind of like the character designs. I don't know about you guys, but some of them were pretty damn good, and I like how every character had like life to them in some sort of way, if that makes sense. I did also enjoy some animations with the game, notably the beginning part and the last part of the game, because those are really the only like fluidly animated parts, if that makes sense, which I think also kind of plays into its own con within itself, because they only do that for the first and last part of the game. I also like how they made a lot more Pokemon seem more lively inside their portraits and overworld animations, if that makes sense. And also the animations of the moves actually look pretty good. I mean, like, of course they can't like make every single move look amazing because, you know, that's just an unrealistic, even if they put all their effort into the game. But for the way that they went with the new battle system, which I will also say is actually not that bad. Like, I think to some degree I enjoyed it, but after a while it does get a little bit repetitive. But the overall animations, as well as just a lot of what the battling is, I think I somewhat enjoyed it, you know? Of course, the battling as of right now is pretty repetitive, as I have beaten the game, and a lot of it is just battling during the nighttime. But, you know, what do you expect? It's a Pokemon game. You're going to be battling a lot with your overleveled Pokemon one-shotting everything. And that's basically it for the pros. I mean, just off the top of my head, that seems like a lot than what I remembered just by playing the game. So let's just start the actual video, and let me just tell you everything I just did not like about this game. So overall in general, I just think we moved backwards with this game. Like, if you look at just how Legends Arceus was and compare it to this game, there's so many things that are just missing. And it also just feels like Legends Arceus established a lot of things that looks like was going to be core mechanics of the Legends games in general, but I don't know, maybe they weren't trying to go for that. So let's just start from the top. One thing, and I'm pretty sure everyone shares the same opinion with me, the map that we're in. Why exactly does the entirety of Kalos and a Legends game only have to take place in Lumio City? And the plot just isn't nearly as interesting. Like, Legends Arceus, you were a person that was exploring the Sinnoh region for the first time and discovering new things. And it made sense why things like Alpha Pokemon exist and why they try to attack you. And while ZA kind of holds some aspects of that, I just don't find Rogue Mega Evolutions and the whole mystery behind the tower nearly as interesting as Legends Arceus' story. And that kind of leads me on to my next point about the map. The wild areas just don't make any sense because some Pokemon's habitat just don't fit it at all. Like, you mean to tell me that a wild Metagross would just be in the middle of a city instead of like somewhere in the mountains or caves? Because, you know, it's a metal Pokemon. It would not be inside of a city like this. That just goes for so many Pokemon too. Like, some Pokemon live in completely different climate, which for some reason, I forget what area it is, but there's just a completely different biome that just does not fit within Kalos whatsoever, and it's a snow biome to be exact, and it's just out of nowhere, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, why is this here? Moving on, we gotta talk about the graphics, y'all. For what this game is charging, it just makes no sense why we're getting this level of graphics for $70. Like, this deadass looks like a mobile game, and I really mean that. Look at the buildings for an example. It's like they modeled one building and decided to just copy and paste them all across the map, with some different ones here and there for story relevance. And let me tell you guys, it is rare when you can even enter in any of these buildings. Like, at this point, this entire map is not even a city. It's a damn maze. And yes, there are NPCs across the map with their Pokemon, but I don't know, everything just feels so dead. It just doesn't feel like a city. Not to mention, just the rendering in the overall game just feels terrible too. Like, I'll be walking straight forward, everything's looked ahead, and then stuff just starts appearing in front of my face. And yes, it's a Pokemon game on the Switch that also has a Switch 1 port. Graphics aren't going to be crazy, but Legends Arceus just looks so much better, from the shading to the overall design of just the world in general. I just like the vibe a lot more than what I'm seeing right now. I just think this game in general just misses that unexplored territory that Legends Arceus had. Another thing about the overall design is just how small this map you're in. And you can really tell because they do not give you any sort of transportation in this game, if that makes sense. There is no bike, there is no roller skates, you can't ride on Pokemon. Hell, you can't even interact with your own Pokemon. It makes sense, but it doesn't at the same time. It makes sense in a way that if you were to have any of these ways of transportation, the map would feel so much significantly smaller. But at the same time, it does make sense because Game Freak, I'm pretty sure, realizes how small this map is and didn't add any sort of transportation into the game. But you know what did have transportation in many ways? Legends Arceus.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And yeah, you're gonna hear me compare that game a lot because that should just be the standard for Legends games and just new gen games in general. Something else that I found crazy about the game is definitely the progression of the ranks. So basically, if you haven't played it, you progress from Z all the way to A, with A being the best and Z being the lowest rank. And throughout the game, you basically complete night battles in order to get this ticket that allows you to rank up. So since it's based on the alphabet, that means you'd probably have to get a ticket 26 times, right? Well, no, not exactly. Because tell me why, at one point in the game, you skip from V all the way to the letter F. Now don't get me wrong, if we were to have to do this 26 consecutive times to go out and battle and get tickets, yes, that would be very repetitive. But why even add the ranking system in the first place if you were just gonna skip half the damn alphabet? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me that there are so many things wrong with this game that people just didn't realize. This game just feels so rushed in so many areas. And on top of that, they're charging $70 for this game. I don't know, y'all. Save your money, okay? Don't buy this game. And while we're on the topic of money, let's not forget how they're charging for 3 heavily wanted megas behind Nintendo Switch Online. Granted, I've played the rank mode. It's not very good at all, which is another thing. In fact, it sucks ass, but at least it's pretty easy to rank up. On the other hand, the other thing about money is the fact that the Mega Dimensions still exist, and you know, it's not out yet, but I can guarantee you it's going to be the same garbage slop as everything else in this game. And I still find it insane that they decided to release and announce it before the game even came out. And yeah, that's basically the gist of a lot of my main cons about the game, and why I think overall this is just slop that honestly probably could have been a mobile game, like, let's be honest. But overall, it kind of just surprises me how we went from Legends Arceus to a game like Legends ZA. It's missing the creativity, it's missing the exploration, it's missing so many perfect values that was in Arceus. And it's just sad to see the game series that I loved, you know, so much, especially playing it like all the way back in 2022, turn out like this. It's just sad. But yeah, that'll basically be it for the review and, you know, my rant, basically, if you could also call it that. And yeah, I would really like to hear more people's opinion about it, as well as interesting takes that you might have about the game series. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, have a good day.